What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. I want to talk about Canelo I was born ready versus Amir pay-per-view numbers on HBO pay-per-view. Now, the fight just happened last week. I was in Las Vegas. I had a great time in Las Vegas, getting back to the swing of things back here at home in the Bay Area. And I want to talk about the Khan versus Canelo numbers. And there's some conflict. There's some conflict definitely in terms of what the numbers are. So Rick Glaser, he's a boxing matchmaker, a businessman, and personality. I believe he was also on that reality show Knockout. I think they had him featured. Let's see what he's talking about. So he put this on his social media. HBO saying today they are not going to announce a pay-per-view buy number for Canelo versus Khan, but we have the number 332,000 buys, and that is horrible. That's why the quote-unquote no announcement. I had predicted 325,000, so I was only 7,000 off, is what he's saying. And so he's saying that the number came back, he heard it was 332,000. Now the conflict is Lance Pugmire. He's with the LA Times, also a credible boxing aficionado. This is what he's putting. Looks like Canelo versus Amir Khan did just under 600K pay-per-view buys. ... So I want to spend some time and talk about that and give really my 2 cents on the whole matter. And it's tough telling because you have two guys who are saying two completely different things. And anytime it's pay-per-view numbers, you never really know because they could inflate it. You know what I'm saying? You don't really know who's doing what. So behind the scenes, I don't personally know. My job is to report boxing. I'm a boxing reporter. That's what I do. If I get a concrete number, which is not really likely, I will report that and give you guys the facts. But it looks like it's gonna say somewhere in this limbo of 332,000 to just under 600,000. Now, my 2 cents is this. I'm more inclined, if I don't hear an established number like on a credible website or from HBO listing the numbers, then I'm more inclined to believe what Rick Glaser said about the low numbers, 332,000, because if it did in fact do just under 600,000, right, then why would you not showcase that? Why would you not hide that? Those aren't terrible numbers. Now, if it did 332,000 for the fight that it was supposed to be, with a pretty loaded undercard, then that is terrible, as Rick Glaser is saying. That is not good numbers. I mean, if it did 332,000, that's worse than Timothy Bradley versus Manny Pacquiao Part 3. So that just goes to show you how much of a mismatch the fight was. And I told people, man, like, here, I'm gonna show you guys. Some of you guys do not believe me. 7 reasons Canelo versus Khan should not happen next. Boxing Ego. 666,000 plus views. I did this 3 months ago when the fight was first announced. You guys can watch that video. It's still on the channel. I don't delete anything, right? And the reason I made that video is because it was a mismatch and the outcome was predicted. And I told you guys, I didn't even get around to doing my official prediction, but you can hear it in the video. I was telling you guys what would happen. Amir Khan could look good in spots. He could frustrate and steal rounds. And then the ultimate untimely knockout was bound to happen. The size differential, there's just so many variables. Again, watch that video if you want. So it was a mismatch. And I don't know. I'm really more inclined to believe the lower number. Because again, if HBO says it's 600,000, then that's something different. But I have a feeling it's going to be swept under a rug. And I told you, as new media, what I'm telling you guys, I've told you about this. When it comes to reporting, some people, they tell you the cable viewership and they'll tell you the peak. Some people will tell you the averages. So with this, it says it looks like Canelo versus Khan did just under 600,000K. Or 600K. So just under, the term just under is very ambiguous to me. You know what I mean? It's just under. What is just under to you? Just under to me might be 500. 599,000. You know what I mean? 599,000. But for you, just under could be 332,000. So you guys got to watch for these little sly, subtle media tricks and wording and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think the term just under 600,000 is very ambiguous, and it goes to show you that the number was rounded up. You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't round up, you would say it did 578,000. You know what I mean? You're not going to say just under. So I don't really know who's telling the truth in this situation, but based on the public outcry when the fight was announced, some people were intrigued by it, but a lot of people thought that the lineal middleweight champion Canelo shouldn't be facing a welterweight, a guy who's not even really established at welterweight. He had 3 fights, and it wasn't even against, let's really break it down. Amir Khan had fought Devin Alexander after Sean Porter had already beat him, right? He had fought Luis Collazo, who really had disappeared. The only thing he had done in recent memory was the Victor Ortiz upset, and Victor Ortiz was on a 15-month layoff. And then he also beat Chris Algieri off of a loss, who was a 140-pounder, fought Pacquiao at a catchweight, and then moved up after a 6 knockdown loss and fought Amir Khan. And then he jumped up another weight class to fight Canelo. So, you know what I mean? Most people thought this was a mismatch, which is another reason why I think the lower numbers could be true. Now, this is still better than Gennady Golovkin, his David Lemieux numbers. David Lemieux numbers did like 3 times under this, if it is in fact the 332,000. If it's 600,000, which is just under 600,000, that seems like a little bit of a stretch to me based on the type of fight this was, because a lot of people probably would have streamed it thinking they already know the outcome, you know what I mean, or I'll catch it on the replay or on the internet and things like that. And it's good to see that boxing fans, if you really look at pay-per-view in recent memory, I don't know if pay-per-view will ever be the same, but boxing fans are speaking their mind loud and clear. They're not just supporting anything. Back in the day, promoters could put on mismatches on pay-per-view and people would still buy it. But boxing fans have been pinching their pennies. You know what I mean? They've been kind of tight. Triple G versus David Lemieux, that was a fight where David Lemieux hadn't really proved his worth as a champion. He had no title defenses, immediately defended against the best middleweight, which was Gennady Golovkin. You look at Pacquiao Bradley 3, the numbers in that didn't do good. Mayweather Berto, the numbers in that didn't do great. So fans aren't going to pay for what they don't want. But even using the Mayweather Berto, people hated that fight. And there was a horrible outcry for that fight. Like, people said, oh, boycott Mayweather. And regardless of if it did 332,000 or just under 600,000, the numbers are pretty much in line with what Mayweather Berto did, which is funny to me because they say Canelo is this big star and he's the future in the face of boxing, and his pay-per-view numbers are declining. So that has to tell you something. Either he's not as big of a star as you're trying to make him, or you have to provide him the opportunity to get better numbers by who you put on the opposite of the bill, you know what I mean, who he's facing, who his opponent is going to be. Because his fight with Cotto did about 900,000. And then either way you slice it, whether this is 332,000 to 600 or just under 600,000, it's still under what the Cotto fight did. So that just goes to show you people are more inclined. A lot of people pick Cotto to beat Canelo. You know what I mean? That was considered closer to a 50-50 fight, if not a 50-50 fight. But a lot of people weren't picking Amir Khan to really beat Canelo. You know what I mean? So either Canelo's not as big of a star as you're saying he is, and this A side that you're saying the future of boxing, or that means you got to put him in there with somebody who's a legitimate threat, somebody who's real, and the public is not going to be bamboozled by a mismatch. You know what I'm saying? So I think the stage is set, really. Canelo versus Triple G, that's the fight the fans want. Jim Lampley, HBO commentators, other boxing personalities have clamored for and said they want. So that's what it's looking like. If you want this man to be a star, there's no easy star build. You gotta put him in there with people who the odds are, the same thing with Triple G, you know what I mean? You got to put him in there with someone like a Canelo, because people, that's what they want to see. They want to see how good both of these guys are. Because you look at Canelo, I was thinking about this the other day. What is Canelo's best win? You can't say it's Laura because that was a controversial win. You know what I mean? Same thing with Austin Trout. I don't think it was controversial, but some people thought it was controversial. I definitely didn't like the open scoring. You can't say it's Mayweather, right? So you would have to say it's Cotto. Probably a Cotto fight. Shane Mosley, I guess Amir Khan, if you want to add that. But those are fights where you really had a weight advantage over the people. Against Gennady Golovkin, that weight advantage is out the window because you're dealing with someone who's taller than you, who weighs about what you weigh, you know what I mean, on fight night when it comes to rehydration, and he's just as strong as you, if not stronger. So, I mean, that's a really good fight. It's a barn burner, and people want to see it. So, let me know what you guys think of the numbers. Again, I don't know exactly. I feel if there's no official word saying, hey, it's just under 600 or this is the exact number, then I'm more inclined to believe that it's the lower number. And again, it's just a testament to boxing fans and where the game is. People aren't just going to buy anything. You put on a fight that's a mismatch or perceived as a mismatch, then people probably aren't going to tune in. HBO really needs to get it together as far as I'm concerned, because they're going up a hill. It's I don't know. They're going up the wrong way because it seems like they're going to try to do more and more HBO pay-per-views, but I'm noticing a pattern where everybody's HBO pay-per-views, everybody, have been declining. Well, who's the last person that hit 1.3 million or 1.4 million? You know what I'm saying? It's been a while since we've seen a fight. I'm not talking about Mayweather Pacquiao because that was just a spectacle, but aside from that fight, when's the last pay-per-view? And we've had a bunch, you know what I mean? We've had about 3 or 4 pay-per-views a year in boxing. And when's the last time somebody even broke 1 million? You know what I'm saying? So it's not looking good for HBO because they're trying to put Terrence Crawford versus Victor Postal on it because of their budget cuts. And Aram saying if Crawford Postal does at least 100,000, he'll be happy. Like, what? That seems like a very low bar. 100,000 and you'll be happy? Let me know what you guys think. Canelo, is he a star? What do you think of the Canelo Khan fight? What do you think of these numbers? Either way, it doesn't sound like it's over 600,000, so it's a decline from Canelo's last fight with Cotto to Amir Khan. And again, I think it's based on the matchup. People thought Amir Khan could do good, but most people didn't pick him to be able to win. And even if he did outbox Canelo, he would have to outbox 3 judges too, because 2 of the 3 judges had him losing, which was bullshit. I thought he had won 4 rounds, probably the first 4 rounds, and then Canelo started catching him and timing him better in the 5th and 6th round, right? So either way, it was looking like doomsday as far as I'm concerned for Amir Khan. It was always an uphill battle because he would have to fight the perfect fight. He has durability issues. Most people question his chin. He was moving up in weight, no rehydration clause, and on top of that, even if he did box a great fight, he would have to knock Canelo down or hurt him, it seems, to win the judges over. Something so convincing where they couldn't try to give it to Canelo for landing bigger, harder punches or whatnot. And it's just a matter of time. So I just seen that being too much. Because even in the Mayweather fight, I thought Mayweather schooled Canelo, and one judge still said it was a draw for Canelo. So I just didn't see Amir Khan winning, and that's just what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think, how much leverage does Canelo have since he claims that, like, I'm the A side versus Gennady Golovkin? What do you think of these numbers? Under 600, but as low as 332,000. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.